Hey, welcome back. It's Lab 52. We're getting our sound guy together here. But yeah, speaking of sound issues and recording issues, with our podcast, I want to promise you, Epinex, the last couple weeks ago, I took a manners class. I had noticed I was interrupting you all the time. And I also wrote down here I became a little less psychic because sometimes I was responding to what you were saying even before you said it. So, but yeah, how are you doing this week? And yeah, tell everybody about our sound issues and how we think we found a fix for that.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good this week. And yeah, as far as the sound goes, if anyone listened to previous episodes, especially earlier and middle of the podcast so far, I would say something, and it's not happening while we're recording it. While we're recording it, it's no issue at all. It's just on the actual app. There, when you hear the playback, I'll say like, Michael Thomas just caught a 15-yard pass, and before when you go to the playback, you will chime in and say, "Yo, Michael Thomas just scored a touchdown." Before I even finished, Michael Thomas caught a pass. So you it seemed as if you were about 3 to 4 seconds ahead of me, and I was about 3 to 4 seconds behind you on the playback, and we were trying to figure out a way to, fix this. And it's not really anything we could do. I read the anchor question and answer, frequently asked questions, and a lot of them were saying the same thing, and they said there's nothing they can really do now to fix that. So I tried to take matters in my own hand, and I was recording my end of the podcast on my iPhone. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try my other phone. I have an Android that I don't really use, but I could still connect the Wi-Fi on it. So I said, let me try that and see if that works. Because I had a previous conversation with one of our league members on, and I used my my Android, and the playback sounded pretty good. So I'm like, let's try it out on the podcast. And last week's episode, I think, was the best recording playback we've had. And I think we figured it out. We both have to have Android phones. That's it. I think that's all it comes down to.
It sounds like this show is sponsored by Android, not iPhone at this point. But no, that's cool that we got that worked out, and people can give me the benefit of the doubt that I'm not just absolutely rude every moment of the podcast. But yeah, I don't know how well the listeners heard, but no, we started the show off with some Tears for Fears there, and there's a line that says, "Kiss them goodbye." When I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's just like all the picks in this startup that I'm doing. I'm just saying goodbye to all my picks, my future picks, in addition to my, as I'm selecting players. But we'll get to that later. You run a Dynasty League, and I'm curious to hear from you. You're creating this startup. Of course, I'm in the league. So this is really just for people listening, as this is your first Dynasty League you created, right?
Correct. Yep, first one.
Okay. And so we're to the point right now. You created the startup. I want you to take it from there and just hear your experience and give some of your observations and feedback.
Yeah, so we talked about it a few times throughout the show in previous weeks that I was starting a startup draft, getting everyone together, trying to, get people engaged through the group chat and just have people paid up and ready to go. So we got that officially all set early last week. Actually, this week, my fault. Early this week, we had everyone all set up, paid and everything. And so we were just waiting for the 2021 MFL, MyFantasyLeague.com pages to be ready to roll. So once that was set, we started our draft on, I believe it was Tuesday night around 9:00. We started our draft, and we do a slow email draft so everyone has time to make their picks. It is Saturday afternoon around 3:00 Eastern time right now. We're about the 7th round of the draft. So, as you can see, it's going to take time when you do a draft in this manner. It's not a one and done type of deal. But it's been going pretty good. We've had a lot of trade activity so far. I'm looking at it now, and we've got 8 trades already, and it's not even 8 rounds yet. So that's pretty exciting.
That's exciting. Yeah, I always kind of, I would certainly think trade activity is maybe a nice, factor to consider when we talk about league engagement and how you maintain that over time. But, certainly people are doing trades. I'd like to think that's fun for everybody involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it kind of lights a fire. It lights a fire in the league. Kind of which way you're going to go and seeing what your opponents are doing. But yeah, before we get into, which I think will probably be the bulk of the show, comparing our previous mock draft to what actually happened. And some of it, and then we'll just kind of go down. We'll see what's going on and make some commentary on both sides. But before we get to that, I did want to give a shout out to our email address, lab52dynasty@gmail.com. Did we happen to get any more mail this week, or just another colon cleanse email?
we didn't even get a colon cleansing email. So yeah, it was pretty quiet. Maybe the snowstorms over here in the East Coast delayed the mailman. I don't know what happened.
I think our listeners, they're beyond email. They say that's they really want to FaceTime. They're like, they're not going to email. Yeah. But all right, cool. Well, let's start off with round one. And we'll just kind of go down and we'll stop when things maybe go off the rails. Our mock match reality, we had Christian McCaffrey going first, and he went first. Yeah, that's no big surprise. Second pick, exactly the same. Boom, we're spot on. We said Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara went second. Third, we're batting 1,000. We're 3 for 3. We got Barkley, and Barkley was taken. Fourth round, Jonathan Taylor. And who did we say? Jonathan Taylor.
Oh yeah, all
we're it's like, and we promised Weapon X and I are not the other 10 people in the league.
yeah, that's good to mention that one. Yeah.
You pick one, then I pick one. So we're doing excellent. Fifth pick, first round. We keep it strong. We're going on here. DK Metcalf, that's who went. Okay, now is when it goes off the rails.
Yes, it does. I want to talk about that one.
All right. I'll let you, because it involves me. I want to hear from you. Sixth pick, what happened?
Yeah, so I have the 7th pick. I'm sitting there on the clock. I'm like, all right, let's see what this guy's going to do. I have a couple players in mind that I want to take, and those guys are going to be there at the 7th pick. Then this guy named the Tecmo Weave comes out of nowhere. I'm not sure if anyone knows him, but yeah, he makes a trade to get back into the first round. He took DK Metcalf at number 5, and then he makes a trade. He gets to the number 6 pick, and now I'm like, oh man, I think I sent you a message too. I'm like, I think I know who you're taking, and I was almost positive you were going Justin Jefferson, because in previous shows you've talked about how much you're a fan of him and you believe he could be the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. That's how much he's risen throughout the year. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to go with Plan B here, because Justin Jefferson was the guy I plan to take. Then I see the pick made, and it goes Patrick Mahomes, and that was a shock. That was a shock. That was definitely a shock to a lot of people. But knowing you and how you feel about Mahomes, it didn't surprise me as much, because I know you talked about him being a first-round pick. I didn't know how early you'd be willing to take him, so I was a little bit shocked at how early you took him, but I wasn't surprised that you traded up to get him, because I know how highly you covet him. And basically with Mahomes, you're looking at a guy who you don't have any questions. There is 0 question marks about his game for the foreseeable future, and he's going to give you an advantage at that position. So I know you're excited about it. You made the move for it, and I got the guy I wanted. But yeah, it was really, really big, and it was cool to see it.
You just cut out there for one moment, but we'll have to contact Android about that. When I made the move, some of it's about opportunity. If you could just trade for any pick you wanted, well, then you could just have like a blueprint of what to do every round. But you can't do that. You have to trade. If you want, say, a first round pick, you have to look at where your opportunity is to get that. So I was excited to trade up into the first round, and I actually wasn't even certain who I was going to take. at that point, I'm like, okay, I just want another first in, well, at this point, the top 6, top 7. And then you messaged me and you said, oh, I think I know who you're going to take. And I'm like, oh, yeah. It did. It kind of, it had me thinking. And I'm like, oh, he thinks I'm going to take Pat Mahomes because I've talked about him, as you said, being a first-round talent. In our mock, we had him going, we had him going pick 1 in the second round. And so I got the extra first-round pick. And I figured he's not going to be there in the third. Excuse me. So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. I mean, you made a move that you wanted to make for your team, and I think that was a very solid move on your part. You have to feel very confident having a franchise quarterback for your dynasty team, and that's you definitely set the trade market going on that pick, because then some trades definitely followed right after that.
And I got a drink here. I'm sorry. So now I'm feeling a little better.
There he goes.
But yeah, I got that pick, and it was all about the idea at that point in my head. Okay, I scheduled to pick the 2-8. That would have been my next pick. Will Pat Mahomes be there at pick number 20? That was my fear. And the way the draft played out, there might have been a good chance that he probably would have been there. But I was afraid he wasn't going to be there. I'm like, oh, one of these jokers picking at the end of the first round is going to grab Devontae Adams and Pat Mahomes. Yeah, and I'm like, they're going to do it. I've done it. I've seen other people do it. I'm like, somebody's going to do it. So I ended up with a pick where, in a sense, I'm using a very high first on Pat Mahomes, which, I guess on paper doesn't look good. But really, when I look at the global picture of it, you're splitting hairs at that point. Like, oh, I would be happy if I got him at the 13th pick, but because I got him at the 6th pick, that's not really that big of a difference. And it's about the security you have with a guy like Pat Mahomes.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
And my philosophy of don't blow it. That's it. And when you pick a guy like Pat Mahomes, that's like a super safe pick. There's nothing wrong with picking Pat Mahomes. And 5 years from now, Pat Mahomes will probably still be the QB1 in the league.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yep.
But so Pat Mahomes, it kind of set the trade market. I don't know if you want to talk about specifically what I gave up in the trade, or if you'd want to move on to reviewing other players. I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah. So just a quick review of what you gave up, so everyone's aware. You gave up your 208 in the second round. You gave up a 2022 first round pick, and then you also gave up, I believe it was this year's 1-6. Is that correct?
I'm thinking that is correct. Yeah, that was in that deal. Yep.
Yes. And then you got 106, and then you also got a pick 407. So you gave up 2 first rounders, but in your mind, you got yourself a guy that's going to be giving you that security, and you're feeling good about it. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that trade specifically, mainly because it was a shocker. Not many people saw that coming as far as who you picked. But no, I totally understand why you did it, and you're setting yourself up for a good run here. So that was good.
I mean, as I said, if I could have just forced whoever picked 12th to trade with me, well, sure, I'll do it then. But that's not the world we live in. You just gotta take the shots when they present themselves. What I liked about this trade is, in my mind, and everyone's, I would imagine, I mean, maybe there's a standard, I don't know. What do you value a future first as? And what does that equate to in an ADP? I always think of a future first is roughly a 6th round startup pick, maybe someone in the 60 to 70 range. So the fact that I was able to trade my second and move up to a first, and in essence, get for my 1/6 and my future first to get 4th round value out of that, I felt that was a good thing because I'm thinking it's, closer to a 6th round value. That's why I pulled the trigger.
Yep.
So, and maybe that's a theme when we start to look at all the trades. It's ultimately about how people value the picks. Like, what is the go, and is there a going rate for something? I guess the market will see what the going rate is. No, it's an exciting part of the league, and I've been having a lot of fun. But certainly we'll move on from Pat Mahomes. But I get it. That was kind of a nuclear bomb, right in the first round. Who did we have here going? What did we say? What pick are we on? Pick 7, I think.
7. Yeah, that was my pick, Justin Jefferson. And I'll just quick tell you why I picked him. I was between. Yeah,
and that's who we had. That matched our. Yes. It matched our mock.
Yes, we did. 6 of the first 7 we had him right on. So that's not that bad at all, man. But
no.
So I made that pick, and I was really between AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson. So it took me a little while to figure out. And with those two guys, you're not really going to go wrong. But I'm just thinking, and my thinking was, Justin Jefferson's about 2 years younger. He's had one of the best rookie years to date. He had an amazing rookie year, and he did that as the number 2 going into the year. This year coming up, he should be expected to be the number 1 target. And the more targets a guy like this gets, he's going to put up some nice numbers. He's got great route running. He gets open, great hands. And a 21-year-old player, that's basically like a rookie coming into the NFL. So you're gaining another year almost with a player at that age. So I felt like that was a good pick. I didn't think it was a gamble or anything. I think it's an ascending player, and I felt pretty good about it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, Justin Jefferson was you were right when you said I was thinking about him. I mean, he was certainly in the conversation instead of Pat Mahomes. What isn't there to like? You can't tell me he puts up a season like that and, it was a fluke. Oh, it's just a fluke. No. He, if it's a fluke, then everybody would be doing it. You'd be seeing it everywhere. That doesn't come along very often. And at 21, all the arrows are pointing up, and that's what's most important, certainly at this time of year.
No doubt.
All right, number 8, we had Tyreek Hill, and our draft did not match who actually went 8th. We had this guy going the second pick of the 3rd round. J.K. Dobbins. Yep. Is J.K. Dobbins a first-round startup pick? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely the guy that we had furthest in our mock draft compared to the draft here. Yeah, I mean, we like the player. There's no question about it. We like the player. The question is, and we were talking about it during the draft, it's just the role. Like, is the role going to be first-round worthy? Is he going to have the opportunity to be an elite running back? When you take a guy at 108 in a dynasty startup, that's got to be an elite running back player. Doesn't mean he isn't a good player. It doesn't mean he has tremendous talent. I believe he is good talent. I believe he's got the potential to be great. But like you were saying, Lamar Jackson is going to take a lot. He's going to take a lot from him at the goal line, in between the 20s. It doesn't matter where it is. Lamar Jackson, he is going to, some years, he's going to lead that team in rushing. And when you have that at your quarterback, what does that leave for J.K. Dobbins? And not to mention, you can't forget about Gus Edwards. He hasn't done anything to lose touches. All he's done is produce when he plays. There's no reason why he should lose touches either. So now, J.K. Dobbins, a good young player. I'm not questioning he'll be a good player in his league. But at the pick, I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
Yeah, I just don't see the upside. And once again, I'm totally going to endorse what you just said. This isn't like, J.K. Dobbins doesn't have value or he's going to flop. No. That would just be, we would be arguing against acquiring J.K. Dobbins. We're not against that. We're against acquiring J.K. Dobbins against players that have a more perceived value and more produced value. They've shown more value. I don't know if you would find many leagues that will value J.K. Dobbins as a first-round startup pick. Because down the line, as the person drafting them, don't you view the player at the position you drafted them? I mean, that was actually a question I had a couple weeks ago, and it never made it to the show. Does the return on investment influence how you value your player? It has for me.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. For me, I feel the same way. Absolutely do. Definitely do with that.
Yeah, like I picked up Jalen Hurts last year in our rookie draft. I got him in the 4th round. So to me, in this offseason, being able to move him for something of greater value, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, well, I only, used a 4th on him. So kind of I'm more willing to let him go maybe for a cheaper price because it's all profit. But are you going to be able to profit off of J.K. Dobbins at the 1.8? No, I don't think so. But that's the fun thing about fantasy. Maybe J.K. Dobbins, he'll have a season just like CMC did, and he'll be the MVP of the league. Unlikely, but
we could be looking back on this episode, say this time next year, and be like, yeah, we don't know what we're talking about. J.K. Dobbins is the number 1 pick, that's the thing, So, but hey, he clearly targeted J.K. Dobbins. That's his guy. So, like I said, everyone builds their own strategy and they have their own evaluations of players. And you know what? If that's what he feels, hey, more power to him. You got the guy you wanted to get. That's what.
Definitely. We're just giving our takes on it. Our take was right again. It's hard to be so right all the time. We said Dalvin Cook's going 9, and he went 9. So that we're doing pretty good here. We passed the test of the first round. Number 10, we said Devontae Adams, and no, somebody went. We picked just a few picks later, Derrick Henry. I mean, kind of, age is that, is he's considered an older running back? I mean, he's still good. But he is such a physical freak that's the other piece with Derrick Henry. Exactly. I can't, what did I see some article like, oh, don't consider it, mileage on him. It's not the same for him. That's basically the point the article is trying to make. I don't feel good seeing Derrick Henry taken at this spot. But I also don't think it's the world's worst pick. What are you thinking about Derrick Henry at the 10th?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's not the worst pick. It's a safe pick. You're going to get good production out of him. I could see him giving you 2 to 3 solid more years, and then what happens after that, we'll see. Mm-hmm. So his value right now is about as high as it's going to get. So he's not going to increase in value as the years go on, just as any running back in their late 20s. You're not going to get more value out of him. But when I look at this team, he picked number 10 and took Derrick Henry. And if I fast forward real quick, I looked at his 2nd pick, 3rd pick in round 2, he went Travis Kelce. So clearly he is going in this draft in a win now mood. I think that's why he went into it saying, you know what, let me get the 2 best players that are producing current day right now. I think that's what he was thinking when he made that pick. So that's his strategy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no. And we've said before, it's important to commit to something. If you're going to do something, commit to it. So if you are grabbing a Derrick Henry in the 1st round, you might as well pair him with Travis Kelce in the 2nd. Yeah. To me, that feels a little early for him, but I can't deny the production. And he's he's paired with Pat Mahomes, and it's easy to in the off season poo saying, oh well, he's only going to have 3 more elite years. Well, that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Because some players don't even have 1 elite year.
Correct. Or they have the 1 and then they have like a half year, then they're sort of hurt. Then they have a above average year, but it's not elite. Then they have an elite year, so you're hanging on to some guy for once again for what he did 5 or 6 years ago, because he might end up doing it again.
Exactly.
The fear of missing out. FOMO. That's what they call that. FOMO. And I think that always drives when we're talking about trades in the league. That's part of it. At least it is for me. I don't know what it's like for you. When you see a trade, does that kind of spark you to react? Or do you just look at the trade and go, oh, okay, I like it, I don't like it? Or does it impact your sense of urgency or how you might guide your team?
I think it's a little of both. It just depends, like when you're waiting for your pick and you are determining between a certain amount of players. If someone trades ahead of you and picks one of the guys that are on your, to draft list, then you're kind of like, all right, I'm like 4 picks away. Do I make a move now? You can react in that way to move up to get guys that you want. I don't know. I think it all depends what you're looking at on the draft board and where you're at in that round to make a reaction to it. But I think it's a little bit of both. You react, and sometimes you look at it and go, oh, good trade. It doesn't really move the needle for me, but it was a good trade for them. So I think it's a little of both, depending on your situation.
And I think that's important. I agree. That it's also, too, based on the round you're in, that's so important. I'm not going to fault, well, unless it's J.K. Dobbins, I'm not going to really fault a first-round pick. Because there's a story to be made for each of them to say, oh, this makes sense. But later on in the draft, you start to see how people fill out their teams or where their weaknesses are, where their strengths are. Then I think maybe potentially trades can impact how a person would continue to draft at that point. Would they pursue a trade? But yeah, okay, so that was the 10th pick. And we got next here Canton Bulldogs, and he picked Devontae Adams. Well, we had him going 10. That's pretty close. It's close enough. And then I guess due to Pat Mahomes hitting the field, we had A.J. Brown at 6, but he went at 12. I like that pick. Same player. He followed it up. We have a snake draft here. He followed it up with Tyreek Hill. We had him at pick 8. He gets him at pick 13. I guess that's a nice value.
Absolutely. He got two really good values in the first round. When you start your draft with AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill, you're excited. That's as good as it gets. So, and let me mention quick, just so everyone's aware, this is half-point PPR. I want everyone to be aware of that. So obviously that balances the field as far as running backs and receivers. It isn't heavy weighted towards either one. It's pretty much a good happy medium there. So I wanted to mention that.
Oh, I think that's important. Correct. People are aware of the format, as you said, half-point PPR. So let's see here. Second pick in the second round, Stephon Diggs. And we had Calvin Ridley. I guess the same principle maybe applies. Get a younger elite wide receiver. I can't fault Diggs going at that point. We had him going 8. And we knew that was maybe not aggressive enough. I had heard you say you thought maybe he was a first-round pick?
Yeah, I really thought he could be a first-round pick. And when we took him, I think it was 2-8. We took him 2-8. I knew he wasn't going to be there in a startup draft right now at this time of the year. Not after the year he had. I just think we kind of underrated him just a bit. Not that we don't think he's good. We talked about him. We know he's a great player. I just think sometimes players get drafted a little later in mock drafts, and then you review it and you're like, man, he probably shouldn't have been there. So yeah, he is a first round. He's a good player.
Well, we had Zeke. Going at 12.
Yeah,
it's like oopsie. That's our oopsie.
I was hoping you would have mentioned that one. Yeah, I would say that was my worst pick of the mock draft. I can own up to that one. He's not a first round draft startup draft pick. That was me making that pick, and yeah, he's just not. So I'll just throw that one out there.
Trying to suggest to our listeners that Zeke should go in the first. No, where did he go in reality? He went the 6th pick of the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's a little more reasonable.
Cliff notes there. Well, so we move into the 2nd round. He took Tyreek Hill. We got Stephon Diggs. You already mentioned pick 2-3, Travis Kelce. That's the 15th pick. That's the 15th guy off the board.
Yeah.
Where did we have Kelce going? We had him going the 10th pick of the third round.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not comfortable with his age. I mean, I know I just said he has the 3 elite years, and that's awesome. It just feels too high for – he's still a tight end. Yeah. He's not putting up 20 touchdowns. he's not supposed to. Yeah. He's an elite tight end who's 31.
Yeah, it's tough.
So what do you think about Kelce at the 2-3?
Yeah, I mean, to put it pretty plain and simple, I'm not picking him 2-3 mainly because I don't want to build my team around a 31-year-old tight end. And this is nothing. Nobody's debating Travis Kelce as an NFL player. We already know what he's capable of doing. He's going to put up great numbers for this guy next year. He's the guy who drafted him is going to be excited about it because he's going to probably have another great year. But my opinion, when I look at Dynasty, I look at it in a 3-year window. And after that 3-year window, Travis Kelce doesn't have trade value. He doesn't have any of that. And it doesn't mean you're not going to be happy with him during the 3 years. It's just you don't have anything to show for it after that 3-year period. It's too high for Kelce. He was more, in my opinion, more of a third rounder. If you want to take him late second, I could see it around the swing maybe, but that's just too high. There's too many young studs on the board right now to pass up on.
Absolutely. Once again, we're not arguing about Travis Kelce. We're arguing about taking him at the 15th pick in the entire draft.
Correct.
That's the problem. And you're right. 3 years from now, you're going to be having a hard time to unload him. Travis Kelce would almost be more of a player like, oh, okay, you're in the 8th, 9th, 10th round of a startup. Maybe you're in the 15th round. You already see how your team is filled out, and then you see how other teams have filled out. Maybe then you trade for Travis Kelce to put him on your team.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. That's a really good idea. Yes.
That once you kind of get a lay of the land, then a Travis Kelce bumps you into a different level.
Yes.
I'm sorry if I have noise issues on my side here. My dog has been trying to chew on his bone only on the floor. Only on the wood floor. He won't chew on it on the carpeting. Just only on the floor.
No problem, man. The dog's got to eat, man. Let the dog eat. He's all
right. I guess I'm getting the sound complaints out of the way. But yeah, let's see here. So where were we? We're talking about Kelce. Kelce, yeah. If you can acquire him later, maybe that would make more sense. But now the problem is for the owner, he views him he bought him at a high second. So you got to keep that value on him.
Yeah.
That's at least in the short term, maybe attitudes change as you get closer to the start of the year, but he's not going to be a movable piece for either party.
Yep.
But hey, I guess we'll see how it plays out. And, it's about what have you done for me lately? And Kelce's done a lot.
Yes.
So 2-4 in reality, Cam Akers, that's where we had Cam Akers going. Or that's where he went. We had DeAndre Swift. I think the same theme applies. Get a good young running back. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So, yeah, we had Cam Akers. Where did we have Cam going? We had him going 3-4. But once again, we commented he could go a lot higher.
Absolutely.
So I have no problem with Cam Akers going at this pick.
No issue at all. Yep.
Okay. I'll let you take it here from the second round on.
All right. So, 2-5, CD Lamb. I don't have the actual mock draft in front of me. Do you know where he went in our draft?
I do. Yeah. You just give me a call out. I got them both up here. CD Lamb and the mock went 2-9.
Okay. Yeah. So in the same range. And that's a good pick. He's incredible talent. Dak Prescott should be back, staying healthy. You're going to see him put up some really good numbers. CD Lamb put up decent numbers for a rookie and with poor quarterback play. So, you can't really debate a pick like that. He should be a pretty ascending player for the next few years for sure. Then we get to
and now,
go ahead.
Yeah, you had a trade here, didn't you?
Yes.
Didn't you trade for Calvin Ridley? How did that play out at the 2-6?
So here's what happened. I had the 2-6. That's my original pick, and I picked Calvin Ridley. That was my original pick, and I was very excited about it. So when I was going into this pick, I was like, man, there are about 3 to 4 guys right now that I wish I could have right now. So I drafted Calvin Ridley. He was my favorite of all of them. I'm a big fan of Ridley. He's probably a number one receiver now for the Falcons. His long-term outlook looks pretty good. Even when Matt Ryan, if he stays there next couple years, I'm not sure, but they should be drafting a quarterback this year, most likely, early. So that future pretty much looks pretty good for Calvin Ridley. I like his talent. He's a productive player. He's playing alongside Julio, an aging Julio, but Julio's still there. He's still a threat, so that's going to keep the field open for Ridley. But so now I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh man, I really want to draft a young running back. I'm looking at the draft board here. A lot of the star elite running backs are going. They're going quick, and there's not many left.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I had maybe 2 really elite type dynasty running backs left, and those were DeAndre Swift and Nick Chubb. Those are the 2 guys that I thought I have to try to go up and see if I can make a move. So what I did, I was able to make a trade for this 2-7 pick. I traded my first round rookie pick, 1-9, and then let me pull up the details of this, the rest of it. Hold on one second.
Yeah,
I traded 1-9. Then I also traded my third round pick, 307 in the startup draft, and 606 in the startup draft. And I got the 207 and I got 706. So I made that trade, and I took DeAndre Swift with that pick. He was one of my highest rated running backs at the time, and the main difference between him and Chubb was just the fact that I think DeAndre Swift's going to be using the passing game so much, and that adds so much value. He's 22 years old. He's 3 years younger. And I figure if I'm giving up a 1-9 rookie pick, DeAndre Swift, he's probably valued at a top 3 rookie pick right now, and maybe more. So I say, you know what? I got to go get one of these young running backs. It's really, really hard to come out of the first 2 rounds with no consistent running back to name.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the future rounds. I'm like, man, I'm going to be in a position where I might end up with no running back that has value in Dynasty, and I couldn't have that. So I made that trade, and I was excited about it because I've always been a fan of DeAndre Swift, and I'm excited about his potential.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had him going for you. You picked him up. Let's see here. You picked him up at 2-7. Only thing, it's like, is he going to be another Kerryon Johnson? A guy that showed promise, and you're like, I know I bought him for a high price. A little Resident Evil 4 there. I bought him at a high price. And yeah, he let me down. But I know that has nothing to do with DeAndre Swift, but themes, and I would just hope that theme wouldn't play out, or the Detroit curse. But no, Jared Goff, he's used to deferring to a running back.
Yeah.
And I love just the opportunity. I think with running back, just opportunity is really the main thing you're looking for.
Yes.
Yep. And he's young. He's going to get the opportunity, and he's either going to show he can play or he can't play. And he played pretty well last year. But Kerryon Johnson had that one promising year, I guess, or half year. But I know they're not the same player. But hey, Weapon X, we're running short on time here, and here we are at the 2-7. How do you think we want to close out the rest of the second round? Do we want to kind of pause it here and then revisit it from this point on next week?
Let's quickly close out the second round, and then let's review our individual picks in the first 2 rounds, and then I think that should be good.
All right, sounds great. Well, at the 2-8, DeAndre Hopkins went. And we had Stephon Diggs. I think that's a similar pick. A veteran star, elite wide receiver. Good pick. 2-9, Josh Jacobs went at the 2-9. We had CeeDee Lamb, but we also had Josh Jacobs going at 2-11.
Yeah,
pretty close.
Same range, yeah.
Pretty close. Let's see here. 2-10, Michael Thomas went. And we had Chris Godwin. Where did we have Michael Thomas going? We had him going 3-7. So kind of, a fairly large difference there. I guess I'm not sure what to make of Michael Thomas this offseason, so it's not a player I probably would have drafted. What do you
Yeah,
think of
yeah.
Michael Thomas?
Yeah, I at first glance when we were doing the mock draft, I'm like, man, I don't even think I could take him in the second round. But when I saw this pick, I could see the idea here. The Saints are actually talking about Jameis Winston possibly being their starter. And I would like that for Michael Thomas. I think Jameis Winston's just a gunslinger. He's going to throw it downfield. Michael Thomas is consistently open. He's 27 years old. This was his first injury-riddled year. He may retain value for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't mind that pick at the end of the second round. I think he's the guy that you can get really good, solid wide receiver one production out of. And I know a lot of people are down on him. This was his first year where he was banged up. I don't know. I think he's one of the more polarizing players in Dynasty right now. So I could see a lot of different opinions on this player, but I don't feel that strongly against the pick.
Okay. Well, I remember when the 211 came up, and it ended up being Nick Chubb, and we had Chubb as a first round pick.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, oh man, I was disappointed. I went in my sell off mode. I'm like, oh, now I have a little bit less to give. And I did. I had tried to acquire that pick, keeping up with the Joneses. I saw you grab DeAndre Swift, and I'm like, yeah, there's not running backs are going to go, and I'm not picking until the middle of the third round. I didn't get him though. So no, I like the Nick Chubb at the 211. We had him at the 111. So great value pick for that owner. To close it out, we had Miles Sanders in our mock draft, and here we go. We close out the second round being accurate. Miles Sanders went, end of the second round. What do you think about Miles Sanders?
Yeah, we talked about it. I talked about how I kind of regretted that in the mock draft, and I still feel the same. In the mock draft, I think I could have took other players at that pick, but we'll see how the situation plays out in Philly with the new quarterback and the new coaching staff. Sanders is still a good player. We haven't seen him play a full year yet, healthy. But so that's the biggest question in my mind. Will he stay healthy? Can he handle the full workload? But getting a Miles Sanders here at 212, especially when you have a swing pick, it's not a bad pick. I think it's okay.
All right. Well, you were saying you wanted to talk about just a recap. I mean, I finished the first two rounds. My two picks were in the first round, and I had Pat Mahomes. People can say what they want about that. And DK Metcalf. A young TO.
Yeah.
And who did you end the first two rounds with?
So I got Justin Jefferson, and then I got that was first round Justin Jefferson. Then I went with Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Swift. So that's how I ended my first two rounds. I got 3 picks in the first two. So I felt pretty good getting 3 top 15 to 20 guys.
Absolutely. There's nothing to dislike about that. You get ahead everybody at the start with some elite players. I think that's a great strategy. So no, you were off to a very good start in the first two rounds. But yeah, next week we'll have to kind of pick up from there and review how the rest of the draft went.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I was just thinking this while we're recording here. I know this is our league here, but I think this is a really good thing for listeners to hear. Actually, a draft happening live, like us talking about an actual real draft. It gives you more of a perspective because every league is going to have different people in it, and you got to adjust to that. Especially in our league, we don't know all the people in this league. We don't personally know all these guys, so we're learning on the fly. So it's actually a really cool idea to be able to talk about this, and I think the listeners are going to get some good feedback on this because for them, they're going to be going into their drafts, whether they're in one now or soon, and they'll be able to kind of see how the community is drafting right now. So I think it's a really, really cool thing that we're talking about this.
I definitely agree. And one other thing that I thought was terrific about this draft, I've never done a startup before right when the new page came on. So when you were to select, like if you wanted to filter the players based on their ADP, there is no ADP because it's the new year. Yeah. I've advocated for that in the past, but I never really knew how to make it happen. Like the names should just be all mixed up, and you have to pick them out.
Yes,
Because you'll have people. It's like, well, okay, this person's at the top of the list. No, so I thought, while there was some order to the players at this point drafting, there was no ADP ranking to fall back on.
Yeah.
So people had to do their own homework, which was interesting.
That's an awesome
but yeah,
point. That's an awesome
we'll
point.
talk more about the league. We'll have a whole bunch to talk about next week. Been good talking with you, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Another good week, and hopefully we'll have another fun week talking about some Dynasty startups. All right, man. Take care, and everyone have a good week.